Good afternoon, everyone. This is Hollis Witherspoon with your Spot of Culture. You know, when I first pitched the idea of interviewing members of a nudist society, the question that came up most often was, oh, are you going to conduct that interview in the nude? Well, sorry to disappoint everybody, that didn't happen. But I have to admit, my own experience with social nudity was pretty limited. It just reminded me of those Diane Arbus photographs from the 1960s, where the elderly couple would camp out in the woods wearing nothing but an apron and some smiles. Turns out, when I sat down with the founders, Felicity and Jordan of Young Naturist America, I learned a lot more than I bargained for about social nudity. For example, all the parties that they hold in event spaces in New York City, the naked Big Lebowski screenings that they might attend without their clothes on, or camping trips, or the fact that an average member might be upper middle class and highly educated, or that their motto is, it's all about the love. I sat down with Felicity and Jordan to find out more about the naked truth. So I guess I'm going to start out with, what does it mean to be a young naturist in America, both organizationally and philosophically as a way of life?
I guess philosophically, we believe that everybody's basically the same. We don't care what people do for a living. We care who they are inside. And once you remove clothing, there's no social, I guess, markings of any kind. So you can't tell who is a lawyer and who's a garbage man.
Yeah, it's really all about acceptance. It's totally a liberating experience to be free of your clothing and be comfortable in your own skin and be with everybody else who's the same way. Everybody's got the same parts. You just kind of be more relaxed in a social nudism atmosphere. I actually grew up going to a nudist club called Rock Lodge in New Jersey, and my parents raised me that way. We spent every summer there just running around, dancing, swimming, playing tennis, doing everything people usually do as kids, but everything in the nude. After college, Jordan asked me if I wanted to jump on board with him to launch Young Naturist America, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
There's two main organizations right now in the United States. It's the American Association for Nude Recreation and the Naturist Society. Both have a lot in common, but they have their own philosophical differences. Both don't answer the needs or address the issues that we thought needed addressing. Well, for example, there's all kinds of nudist resorts out there that will not let you enter if you have body piercings. In my opinion, that negates the whole acceptance thing.
This is a relatively new organization. You started it in the last year, and you said you had this kind of overwhelming response. What is it about kind of New Yorkers? I feel like we're a buttoned up, very tense group of people just by our nature. Is there some special need to liberate ourselves from our clothes that you found?
Actually, our organization, while we're based in New York, a lot of the people that interact with us every day are from all over the world. We're getting people from Australia to London. Right now our website is getting about 2,000 to 3,000 hits a day. They're coming from everywhere.
But you hold events in New York, right?
We hold events in New York. At this point it's getting so big that it's eating up a lot of our everything, basically, time, whatever it is. And we could expand and have something in Florida or California and have a big following tomorrow. But the problem is finding people you trust to basically represent you in the way that you want to be represented.
Now, talk to me about that, because I think people hear nudism and they automatically jump to some kind of sexual activity or something like that.
I guess, first of all, we believe that as long as no laws are being broken, nobody's getting hurt, and people adhere to our code of ethics, which is printed on the website, then they're more than welcome to join. But there's no sexual anything. You'd actually be surprised how non-sexual the events are when everybody's naked. It's like everybody is...
I believe it. There's no intrigue, right?
Yeah, first of all, you can't really wear a very tight skirt or something.
It is what it is.
Be very enticing. It's like, this is who I am, take it or leave it.
And talk me through a typical event.
Basically, when we started doing events last year, we wanted to gear it towards the younger generation because there's always been a lack of young people in social nudism. And so we set up a party with open bar, music and dancing and everything you would find in a typical bar or club in Manhattan, except everybody is naked. So that's what we started doing last fall, and we kind of expanded this fall doing a charity project. So we did a photo shoot, and then we held an event with raffles to raise money for a charity, a women's shelter in New York City, actually.
There's no lack in finding people. There's enough people that are interested. For the most part, women are a little bit more hesitant at first and usually are brought with their boyfriends or husbands. And then it's the women that keep on dragging the guys back again and again and again because they realize there's nothing sexual.
You go to Europe, and everywhere you go, there are images of naked people. I mean, not everywhere, but they're much more comfortable with the idea of being nude or in film or on television or whatever. And for us, it's like this really scandalous thing, especially the female body is so fetishized. Do you think that your organization kind of helps to break down those barriers a little bit?
The United States is different in the mentality here than Europe. There's no question about that. We equate sexuality and nudity as being the same, and most of it comes from either religion or how you were brought up. You can only be naked when you take a shower or when you're having sex, I guess. But other than that, it's not accepted.
I like to think I've been changing people's minds just by going topless in New York State wherever a guy can, since it's legal. But a lot of people are still like, breasts, no, you hide those are sexual.
Right.
You don't want to ever show your breasts anywhere. But it's legal in New York State, and a lot of women don't take advantage of that at all. I think Central Park is one of the most natural places to do it when you're just, lying on the grass out in the sun. Why shouldn't a woman be able to sunbathe topless? Like you were saying about Europe, it's most beaches you can do that. And here it just goes back to like American Puritanism or something.
What are the challenges that you've encountered along the way? For example, I even wrote in my email to Felicity how we're doing this story on counterculture, and you replied, no, it's not counterculture, it's fringe culture.
When you say counterculture, we're not trying to counter anything, really. We're not going against anything. We have our own little microcosm. We have our ideals, our ethics, all the things that we believe the world should basically be.
It reminds me of that quote, actually. It's something like, if God meant us to be naked, we would have been born that way.
Yeah, that's true.
So what would you say to someone who wants to strive for the same ideals of acceptance and community and support, but they're terrified of taking their clothes off?
Well, they don't have to.
Oh, really? You don't have to?
You don't really have to. I mean, you have to understand, we came out of nowhere. Nobody knew us. Nobody heard about us. Our first event had maybe 20 people. And the barmaid that we got, we told her she can do whatever she wants. But after about, I'd say 5 minutes or so, she felt so uncomfortable being the only clothed person in the room that she just disrobed. And that's been the case in every event so far.
Well, to find out more information on their society, go to www.nudistnaturistamerica.org and check it out. And the New Year's event is called New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
Very
part
good.
2, because the first one was last year.
Awesome. Well, we wish you well in your second year of liberation and freedom from those restrictive clothing.
Thank you. Hopefully we see you at one of our events. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
a challenge. I'm
It
trying
is a challenge.
out,
I'm going to put that out to the artsy fartsy community. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio, Felicity and Jordan, and we'll see you next week.